reps today. It'd be an hour and a half and on and off, and then it's really getting ready for Cincinnati for everybody else. Questions?
What are you looking forward to most Thursday night?
What or who?
Both.
Well, I think, with these is you as a coach, man, you want to see some of these guys. You've been coaching them on technique, fundamentals. The scheme is not as big of an issue right now. I'm not concerned with that because what we're giving them, they'll be able to play fast. But, man, how do they handle competition? Like Cincinnati's going to, I think Zach's going to play those guys a couple of drives. They're starters. So it'll be great look for our guys. How do they compete? Do they use what they've been taught? You want to see the development. Like, you're excited for some of these young guys, and then some of these rookies, young players, to have a chance to see where they've grown. Do they take what you're teaching them to the field? And then some of these veteran guys that are playing for a spot, to watch them go out and compete. It's just, that's what's fun about all this. But I think just trying to play as clean a football as we can. Nothing's going to be perfect, certainly the first preseason game, but you want to see these guys keep their composure and stay disciplined and use your craft. Use what you've been taught.
Had his camp cut short last year. It looked like he's come back with a real hunger. Just what's impressed you about his camp so far?
Who's that? Oh, yeah. Listen, he's had a really good camp. He is all out all the time. The guy never takes a play off, literally never takes a play off. He doesn't take a water break off. The guy is all out. Some of his things, honestly, is we gotta rein him back in a little bit. Sometimes he gets out of his mind and goes a little rogue on some stuff. But you'd rather it be that way and pull back on him than the other where you're constantly having to prod him. So he's really grown, kind of moving into the big end. That was a move that was made. So he's a little bit of an undersized big end, but it doesn't affect him. He plays so dang hard, plays with leverage. And he's grown, man. What you love about him, like, he doesn't cower from anything. Like, competition, man, he's all for it. And he wants it. He wants it, and he tries to prove it every day. So you like that. I'm excited to see what he does in this game.
Maybe this is a post-Bengals game question, but you'd said Kirby Joseph would be reevaluated at 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is tomorrow. What does the next steps look like for Kirby?
Well, Kirby right now, first of all, he's dealing with a personal issue right now, all right? But his rehab is coming along very well, okay? So that is I still see him on the Branch plan, if that makes sense. And Branch is doing well too. So those guys, we're talking about on down the road. The season's already begun. But I like where Kirby's at.
I'm sure it'll be vanilla as far as the play calling goes tomorrow. But for Drew, a new offensive coordinator, what do you want to see from him getting the plays in and working the offense, and how quickly or how efficiently they work?
Well, it'll be Altmaier, who's a rookie quarterback, and then certainly Dobbs, but Dobbs just stepped in the door, so just learning our terminology. So, we've got to keep that in mind. I think more than anything, you kind of mentioned it right when you asked the question, it's more about he and I, so he learns my communication with him, what I'm looking for, this is what I mean when I say this, I think more of those things. And then I get a feel of him a little bit. Now, he's not going to, he doesn't have, he won't have all his guys in there. But, you can kind of get a feel of where he's at and the way he thinks, too, in-game flow. I think it's more of that than anything, us just kind of getting familiar with one another in a game setting.
Did you feel last year with Johnny, did you feel confident after the first preseason game, or is that something that kind of changed as you got into the regulars?
No, I think that's always going to be a work in progress. No, not really, but that's normal. I mean, I didn't feel great with Ben either the first preseason game. I mean, it's a work in progress, you know, and so it takes a minute to learn each other and what you mean, what you're looking for. And the only way to do it is go through games together, you know. But so it'll be good. It's all part of the process.
Does Devin White change this defense just in the early days? It seems like having that veteran presence out there. He makes plays, looks consistent.
I like where he's at, you know. He looks like a different guy than what we saw in Vegas last year on tape. I mean, he's moving well. He's thumping, pretty smart. He's got speed, still has that speed. And that's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I remember in Tampa Bay when I was in New Orleans. That was the guy. He was a headache. And so, you know, Ham's doing a good job with him and Shep, you know. And so it's pretty exciting right now. Let's see where he's at. You know, he's going to play in this preseason game, and let's see where he can go. But we like what we've seen so far 2 weeks in.
Devin did have a pretty good year last year in Vegas, at least by the measure of tackles. So in what ways does he look even better to you guys than he did on tape last year?
He's thumping, and he's running, and he's finishing plays. It's outstanding.
And I know you said yesterday Blake would play. Does he need to play next to like the lineman that he's going to play with in the game? Or
you know, that was always it's a good question. I think it would help, but I'm not going to play Tate. You know, do I think it could help? Yeah, but I like where Tate's at right now with where we're at going in on a Thursday game, first preseason game, and knowing what I've put on some of these guys over the last, you know, really week and a half. The padded practices, you know, that was for a reason, man, to get them where we are. So, you know, of course I would like to play them, but I think the right thing to do is to sit Tate for this game. I do see Blake playing, certainly. And then playing them together next week.
Since the day Jack Campbell arrived, he kind of been putting his head down, just work, not talk very much. But have you saw anything now that he's coming off an All-Pro season, in his vocalness or leadership style? How's he dealing with coming off an All-Pro season?
I think more than anything, with any player, man, his confidence is at an all-time high. You know, his confidence and his knowledge of our defense and what Shep wants, and he's got so much more reign in the defense. We were giving him a lot of different calls. He's got a lot of leeway to get to what we need to get to. You know, we're putting that on him. So he's our quarterback on defense. So, and with that, he understands situations, what we're looking for, what we need to call, what we should be in. And so with that confidence comes, the urgency, man, the urgency, when he communicates and when he makes a call or when he needs this or when he finishes the way he finishes, everybody pretty much snaps to attention. I mean, you can't miss Jack Campbell on the field. And so I think just the nature of the way he goes about his business kind of snaps everybody in, in a good way.
Just to stay with the linebacker theme real quick from Devin and Jack. Eric Hunter is a guy that Phipp had mentioned on the radio, just kind of, he can make a million tackles on special teams. What have you seen from him in terms of his growth? We see the length, we see some of the coverage.
Gets better every day. And really his deficiencies come because he doesn't know what he doesn't know yet, just from where he came from. I mean, he learns something new every day that he's just never known, never been taught, had no idea, and that comes sometimes playing in a smaller school. So, but man, he's athletic and man, he takes notes, he listens, he works his tail off in practice, and every day he's kind of another one of those guys that makes plays every day, and he certainly makes plays every day in special teams. Every day he's making a block or he's making a tackle. And you just see growth on defense. You see growth. So we like him. We like him. He'll be another one. We're excited to see him play.
And I'm curious about the
last three, Justin, Corey.
You're 3 weeks away or less than 3 weeks away from kind of having established that initial 53. And so I'm wondering just through the process of camp, the conversations you have with Brad, how fluid are the conversations, the debates, or do you kind of put that in the rear view until you get closer to the date? Yeah,
I think, we certainly have conversations, but I think a lot of it, I'll give you an example. Last night I went in there and man, we were just kind of talking about practice and talking about some of the guys and, hey, this play and that play, and, man, I like where this guy – so we kind of talk. We talk to one another periodically in that regard, like, hey, man, did you see this? Did you and so we get a pretty good idea of what we think each player, and as Brad and I always are, I mean, it's rare that we don't see the same thing. I mean, we see players very much the same way. We respect what players do, how they play, pretty much the same way, what they put on tape. And so those happen. It doesn't happen every day, but it does happen. But I think we're going to kind of stay away from a total eval. That's what we're going to do a little different. A total eval until late. Let's just get all the way through this almost, and then let's really sit down and deep dive and let's get a really good perspective, certainly from the coaches, myself, but he and his staff, personnel department, man, what are they seeing? What are they? And then Brad and I will come together at the end of all this. But yeah, we certainly communicate. I mean, that's,
You've seen Keith Abney get moved around a lot, put a lot of different situations.
Who's that?
Keith Abney.
Yeah.
You've seen him move around a lot, get put a lot of different situations just from the time you got him in the building to now in this camp. How have you seen him growing as a player?
He's pretty smart. He's pretty headsy for a rookie, Nickel position's not the easiest, and that's where he's gotten a majority of his reps is in there. And what you like is he'll do exactly what you tell him to do. And you give him one of the finer details, on this coverage, make sure that your eyes go through 2 to 1. And, man, he does it. He hits his landmarks in zone drops. He's just pretty headsy that way. So that's always going to give you a chance, right? Especially if you're a young player that pretty instinctive, and then you take the coaching to the field. So he's another one. Be excited to see how he plays.
Seems like the top of your depth chart at wide receiver is pretty set, but there's a lot of guys competing for those last couple spots. Just kind of curious if any guys stuck out, made an impression.
It's an all-out battle. That receiver room, this is the best receiver room we've had since I've been here in camp, top to bottom. I mean, those guys are gifted. It's a really good crew, man. And they're all pretty tough. They're all a little bit different, the way they're built. And every one of those guys has flashed on one day or another, has done something pretty damn good. So honestly, this thing's up for grabs. Once you go after you get to the ones you just talked about that we know are up there, there is no telling. And special teams is going to have a huge factor. That's the other thing, man. I'll just give you an example. Like Tay Martin, man, makes plays every day. And he's intriguing on offense, but the fear is already there. He is not that way. This guy, it doesn't matter who's there. He's going to try to use his craft and compete, and you love that. Special teams, he makes plays every day. And so I like where he's at right now, I like where he's at. So, we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
What's that nickname? Like, what's it mean to you, the Ironsides nickname?
Are you kidding? Are you not a history? No, forget it.